Governor of Edo State, Godwin Obaseki's election victory affirmed today by the Supreme Court, making him to win for the third time in the courtroom. And the statement attributed to former SGF boss Mustafa about Buhari's 2015 victory and the role Bola Tinubu played is causing a stir. Tonight we'll be getting insider information from those who know Buhari, who participated in the 2015 election, and all what the implication means. Hello everyone, welcome to the program. This is Politics Today, live on Channels Television. I am Sean Wakimale here in Abuja. Let's begin from the courtroom today, where the Supreme Court has affirmed the victory of Governor Monday Obaseki. The Supreme Court today has reiterated or affirmed the position of the appeal court, and in the end, affirming the victory of the governor against the appeal filed by the PDP candidate Aswe Ighodalo. After the Supreme Court judgment today, the Deputy Governor Dennis Idahosa speaks on the outside of the courtroom. The five-man panel led by Justice Muhammad Lawa held that the appellant could not establish their claims of election, non-compliance, unlawful vote, and that Monday Okpebholo was not duly elected. The appeal was dismissed for lacking merit. Shortly after the ruling, Mr. Ighodalo said he felt a deep sense of betrayal by the decision of the Apex Court, arguing that what played out on the 22nd of September 2024 was a deliberate and coordinated robbery. He alleged, without providing evidence to back up his claim, that the governorship election was rigged in favor of the PC candidate and an incumbent governor. He says in a statement released, he said, like you, quote, like you, I feel a deep sense of betrayal, not just by those who rigged the process, but by the very institutions we trusted and to protect our democracy. You came out in hope, you voted for competence, for progress, for prosperity, and now we're told your voice does not matter. I feel your pain, I share your anger, and I will never forget your courage. Meanwhile, the former governor of Edo State, Governor Godwin Obaseki, has been reacting to the story about the affirmation of Governor Monday Okpebholo's victory in the courtroom, and he says that the manner in which, according to him, the election was rigged was monumental. In a statement released on his ex-handle, former Governor Obaseki says, and I quote, "We, however, want to caution that the iconic manner in which the Edo election was manipulated, coupled with the judicial validation it has received, portends grave danger for Nigeria's democracy." Today, We saw another book launch. One was yesterday, and some of the controversies around the book launch of yesterday is still very much in the air. But today we saw another book launch, this time around by Mr. Bello Adoke, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, the former Attorney General of the Federation. And it's about a very controversial oil processing license. And that, he says, one of the reasons why he had to go on exile. Let me allow you to listen to some of the soundbite that came out of that book launch today.
Former President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan GCFR, with whom we have shared the sword and have now recalibrated our relationship, was mooting the idea of removing this Borno governor, and Aminu Waziri Tambuwal, the then Speaker of the House of Representatives, had the courage to tell the President that, Your Excellency, you don't have the power to remove an elected councillor. The President was still not convinced. He mooted the idea at the Federal Executive Council. I admire Mr. Mohammed Bello Adoke fundamentally for his courage and for his convictions and for his capacity to stand for what he believes in. He told the then president that, Mr. President, you do not have the power to remove a sitting governor, not even a councillor. They sought for the opinion of another SAN in the cabinet, Kabiru Turaki, who said, I am concurring with the opinion of my senior colleague. That was how the matter was laid to rest, but that was how my relationship with Mr. Bello Adoke and Aminu Waziri Tambuwal became eternally sealed.
That's Vice President there at that book launch by the former Attorney General of the Federation, Mr. Bello Adoke. All right, let's tell you that INEC has been telling us about some of the intentions of some associations to register more political parties. And as such, today, in a statement released by the National Commission and Chairman, Information and Voter Education Committee, Mr. Sam Olumekun, and I said 7 more applications have been received in 1 week. I'm bringing down the total of all the applications for registration of political parties to 129, and it says all the requests are now being processed. And it says, unlike before, the manual method was used in previous registration, and the Commission is introducing a political party registration portal, which is a module in our party financial reporting and auditing system, the PFRAS. And this will make the process faster and seamless. And it says in the next 1 week, the Commission will conclude the final testing of the portal before deployment. Thereafter, the next step for association that meet the requirements to proceed to the application stage will be announced. The Commission will also issue guidelines to facilitate the filing of applications using the PFRAS. President Bola Tinubu participated in the BRICS event in Rio de Janeiro in Brazil, where the president met with world leaders who are participating in that bloc meeting. Well, a lot of Nigerians will wonder, what is the benefit Nigeria could have taken out of that sort of meeting? Plus, there are stories about the U.S. new visa policy to Nigerians, the issue of the United Arab Emirates visa policy to Nigeria, and some of other issues that may be bothering the mind. Tonight, we have one man that is in the know. All of these matter goes to his table, and he can explain further to us. We're being joined by the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Ambassador Yusuf Tuga, who is joining us on the sidelines of the African Union Leaders Meeting. Thank you so much, Honorable Minister, for joining us tonight.
Pleasure to be here.
Thank you so much indeed. Let me begin by asking, fundamentally, Nigeria is not a full member of BRICS Commission. It then means that we may not be able to benefit 100% from what comes out of the agreement, that organization, which is supposed to compete with some of the Western global organizations. But what would you say is our biggest benefit as a people and the profit Nigeria could have gotten out of that meeting?
Incorrect. We will be able to benefit 100%. The BRICS partnership status comes with all the benefits of being a member, but without the, if you will, for lack of a better word, the liabilities, political liabilities that may accrue. So BRICS is a group that is not against any country or any other group in particular. It's primarily a group of South nations, groups, countries that belong in the Southern Hemisphere, that are developing nations, that are looking to improve on the existing global financial architecture and the global political structures that were created at the end of the Second World War. You see that we went through a period of the Washington Consensus, where a lot of countries were compelled to subscribe to some of the stringent conditions of SAP, Structural Adjustment Program, for instance, where they were doomed to, to become exporters of raw material as opposed to finished products. So the effort being made at the moment is to move us from being exporters of primary products, raw materials, to exporters of finished goods, and also to address the issue of debt that is a burden to a lot of developing countries, which is why President Tinubu spoke to that at the meeting. And as usual, his contributions attracted a lot of interest because he was also talking about solutions to the debt crisis. Because what we have at the moment is not a financial crisis in the developing world, but a development crisis where countries are being assigned perpetuity to debt, because the debt settlement itself that comes from IMF and other Bretton Woods organizations tends to address the debt, private sector debt of the developed nations, though what the developed nations have loaned to developing nations. So that tends to be settled first, and then you are left in this vicious cycle of borrowing to settle what already exists. So what President Tinubu was suggesting is some sort of international sovereign debt restructuring mechanism that will be there, that will take care of some of these problems. And this was applauded. Apart from that, there were numerous other issues that were discussed. How to, for instance, finance the energy transition itself. It's very expensive. The technology, solar energy, wind, all of that we keep talking about, is very expensive. How do you fund it? How do you finance it? And this is where we also talk about the role that IMF can play, not using debt, not to lend the money, but there are certain instruments that are there that can be utilized to fund the energy transition. At the end of the day, we weren't the ones that created the problem. Most of the pollution was generated by developed nations, not developing countries. So these are some of the, you have special drawing rights, for instance, that can be applied, that were applied during COVID. So these are some of the issues that were discussed at BRICS. And don't forget, there's a new development bank being headed by Dilma Rousseff, the former president of Brazil. They are also there to provide not just financial support, but technical support to developing nations.
So, but what would you say immediately? Is there any major FDI that we can lay claims to that is practical and that is identifiable in the immediate?
You see, this is where you and I always quarrel when you talk about immediate. When you give your broadcast another, do you always see immediate response? It's not always an immediate thing. Government is not an immediate thing. It is a continuum, and sometimes it's incremental. So don't say that the president went to BRICS, therefore he must put $10 billion on the plane and then bring it back to Nigeria. You know very well, if we are not trying to be mischievous, that government doesn't work that way. It works incrementally. But if you want, I can talk to you about the bilateral meeting that President Tinubu had with President Lula, where there are immediate results.
Talk to us about that. So I was asking questions relating to immediate results.
So Air Peace to be flying between Nigeria and Brazil. LATAM, their own airline that is going to be flying cargo between Nigeria and Brazil. We already have the green imperative that is already up and running. If you remember, before this visit to Brazil, the vice president of Brazil, who is also the minister for trade and investment, visited Nigeria, okay, to further build on the green imperative, which is going to have agricultural projects in every local government in Nigeria. They have Embrapa, which is the entity that conducts research. This is how they transformed what is today one of the most prolific agricultural areas in the world. They call it the Cerrado. The Cerrado is their savanna. It was not productive because it had high content of acidity in the soil. Embrapa, which does a lot of research, was able to come up with a solution using lime. So it became one of the largest producers of soybean in the world. Embrapa is partnering with our own Nigerian institutions so that it would improve our soil quality and improve our yield. And of course, there's a company that has committed to investing over $2 billion. I think it's about $2.2 billion. BJP, they call it. It's owned by a group of Brazilians, the Batista brothers, actually, that are among the largest. Some say they're the largest producers of meat in the world. So livestock, cattle, the livestock feed itself, poultry. These are all things that's why we also have the governor of Niger State there. The governor of Ogun State was also there. Fertilizer being exported to Brazil already by Dangote and others. We're looking to increase that.
Yeah, Minister.
Brazil is number 4 in the world in the garment industry. We're talking about exporting polymer, exporting synthetic fiber, which is used for face caps, for these soccer T-shirts, for trainers, so that Nigeria can be exporting that to Brazil. So these are all things that,
Minister,
the gestation period.
Embraer is a Brazilian aircraft maker, manufacturer, and I know that there is an overture. You mentioned Air Peace. I know Air Peace ordered several aircraft, brand new aircraft from Embraer. Are we having any talks with Embraer? Is Nigeria doing any deal with Embraer? Are we trying to do any kind of repairs and whatever hub in Nigeria? Is any of such thing happening?
Yep. Exactly. This is one of the things that was discussed. Them setting up a hub for checks, for servicing of aircraft in Nigeria. And as soon as Air Peace secures a plane that it can put on that route, Brazil, the Brazilian equivalent of FAN, has said they're ready to approve for them to start flying immediately. This is something the two presidents emphasized. President Lula said, look, I'm 79, President Tinubu is 73. We don't have time. This has to be done as quickly as possible. And Mr. President also re-emphasized that. So we have our marching orders. We're ready to go.
Minister, there is a geopolitical issue, some kind of geopolitical balancing, if you may call it like that, because as Nigeria is deepening its ties with BRICS and other nations that are not really ideologically on the same plane with a world power like United States, you start seeing some politics coming up there. There are different priorities like the de-dollarization and the UN Security Council reform and some of the ambition Nigeria has in terms of foreign relations. And we saw the reaction of the American president to Brazil, for example, saying that it can jack up the tariff imposition sanction by almost 50%. Do you have fears that we might suffer any kind of sanction from America because of these our relation?
No, I don't. And if we do, it would be most unfortunate because we are looking to do deals with the U.S. President Trump has emphasized the need to do deals and do deals with African countries, Asian countries. And Nigeria stands in a very good position to continue its symbiotic relationship with the U.S. We possess a lot of critical minerals, not just lithium, but we also possess rare earths. There's something called samarium that you get from monazite, for instance. Samarium is used to produce very powerful metals that are used in missiles and missile systems, for instance. And it's something that Nigeria is in a position to supply. Nigeria is also in a position to supply a lot of energy to big US big tech. We have a lot of gas, and they are in need. The big tech consumes a lot of electricity. Data mining, data storage, artificial intelligence, these are things that run on a lot of electricity. And we have that energy source. So these are the discussions we're having with the Americans. And when we talk about BRICS, let's not forget that these BRICS members, the initial BRICS members, these are the same countries that are in the G20. Brazil is a member of the G20, okay? Russia is a member of the G20. India is a member of the G20. China is a member of the G20.
But BRICS minister is supposed to be a competition to the
the US is equally, no, it's not. That's where people get it wrong.
It's supposed to be an economic competition to this organization.
They participate in both because there are two different things. And it doesn't stop them from doing business with the US. It doesn't stop them from being partners with the US in G20.
But Minister, just a moment. There is a 3-day summit that is ongoing in Washington with American president and 5 African presidents. The Nigerian president is not is invited. We don't know whether he's invited or not, but President Bola Tinubu is not attending. And there are reports that a renewed Trump administration may impose a 10% tariffs on Nigerian exports in response to closer alignment with BRICS. What diplomatic or trade countermeasures are being prepared to mitigate such fallout?
Excuse me. Sorry, that may not necessarily, the issue of tariffs may not necessarily have to do with us participating in BRICS. You have to also bear in mind that the U.S. is mounting considerable pressure on African countries to accept Venezuelans to be deported from the U.S., some straight out of prison. It will be difficult for a country like Nigeria to accept Venezuelan prisoners into Nigeria. We have, in the famous words of, I don't know if you know the U.S. rap group called Public Enemy. If you do, then you'll remember a line from Flavor Flav, a member of the group, who said, Flavor Flav has problems of his own. I can't do nothing for you, men. We have enough problems of our own. We cannot accept Venezuelan deportees to Nigeria, for crying out loud. We already have 230 million people. You will be the same people that would castigate us if we acquiesce to accepting Venezuelans from U.S. prisons to be brought in.
Are we under pressure? Are we under pressure from the Americans, from the U.S.?
These are some of the discussions that have been ongoing, not just with Nigeria, but also with other countries.
But Minister, quickly, how are you responding diplomatically, of course? Because as of July 9th of 2025, the U.S. now issues only single entry 3-month non-immigrant visas to Nigerians. And this has caused a lot of furore, down from up to 5-year multiple entry permits, given Nigeria previously received nearly 1/5 of all such visas in Africa. How are you responding to it, and what immediate effect do you foresee on business, education, and tourism?
We are talking to the Americans, we're engaging them. We are also explaining and reminding them that we issue them 5-year multiple entry visas the same way that they issue regular travelers 5-year multiple entry visas. What Nigeria has done that differs is simple. We used to have visa on arrival that wasn't running efficiently. We introduced these online electronic visas that you can apply so that it saves you time instead of just arriving and then going through the process of getting the visa when you have already arrived. The same way I'm talking to you on my laptop, I can just simply apply for a Nigerian visa and you get it and then you fly. So it makes it easier. This is what we've done. We have different categories of visas. There are those people that are first-time travelers that are coming as tourists that are probably not likely to come back to Nigeria again, maybe because they're coming for a short while, and they get those 90-day visas. So our visa is not saying that every American is only being given 90-day visas or 3 months or whatever. We give Americans, there are loads of Americans that have these long-term visas. 5 years.
So the Americans are not correct when he said their decision was based on reciprocity.
It is not based on reciprocity.
Do you think that this is punity from the Americans to have taken such visa policy on us?
The issue of accepting Venezuelan deportees, honestly, I don't think is something that Nigeria is in a position to work with. And I think it would be unfair to insist that Nigeria accept 300 Venezuelan deportees. Maybe that might just even be the beginning.
But Minister, where I would like you to anchor perhaps tonight is on the Nigeria UAE bilateral relations, an issue of visa too. Nigeria has relationship with the UAE, and we thought that things are getting better. Now we've seen an imposition of a visa ban in October 2022, and there are statements as of 2023, 2024 that things are getting better. But we've now seen another move by the UAE on visa policy. And in fact, the enormous amount that you need to pay when you're applying for visa. How are you reacting to that?
What I can say is that when President Tinubu came in, he directed that there has to be reciprocity with regards to visa. We must make sure that we give the same duration, same length of visas to countries just as they give us. So if America is giving us 5 years to regular travelers, we switched, we were giving them 5 years. President Tinubu emphasized this. Now, in the case of UAE, you know that there were issues in Dubai, some Nigerians that were involved in nefarious activities, and perhaps in reaction to that, there was this visa ban by the UAE. We engaged them. President Tinubu even went there, I believe, 3 times, and talks went on, and there was a resumption based on the agreement that there will be a process of screening and all of that. It does not domicile with our embassies. This is being handled by the National Security Advisor, okay? And there's some sort of screening process that would result in the issuance of visas. So that is ongoing.
All right.
We are actually quite surprised that all of a sudden we're hearing this. I don't know if it is a copycat move because the U.S. has announced this. Then all of a sudden the UAE is announcing its own. But it is most regrettable. We hope that they will revisit this issue if indeed that is the case. I have not been communicated to by the Emirati foreign minister. I have not heard from the Emirati ambassador, so we don't know the extent of of action.
Minister, thank you so much indeed for your time tonight. Ambassador Yusuf Tuga, the Foreign Affairs Minister, thank you so much for clarifying these issues for us. Thank you so much indeed.
Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you. We take a break, everyone, but when we return, our attention will be whether or not Bola Tinubu played any major role in Buhari winning the 2015 elections. That statement, does it affect the CPC, APC, ACM bloc in the APC? And what are the implications for the 2027 election? One man very close to Muhammadu Buhari, Farouk Adamu Aliyu, is my next guest on the program, and he will be telling us the Tinubu's factor in Buhari's win, the local effect, and the 2027 politics. We'll be right back after this break. So there are big questions here. The Emilokan effect, is it really valid based on President Bola Tinubu's perspectives on the APC politics? What were his roles in the merger that saw the emergence of the APC in 2014 and winning elections in 2015? You remember what the president said in Ogun State when he said Emilokan and President Bola Tinubu on television wept. And thereafter, he came to the rescue, formed an alliance, and there was a merger, which saw President Muhammadu Buhari winning after a 4th time of trying to be Nigeria's president. But that perhaps was were disconstructed when Boss Mustafa, former secretary to the government of the Federation, was saying Buhari had always come up with 12 million votes, and there were only about 3 million votes that came from the merger, which gave Buhari the 50 million votes plus that he got in 2015. One of the close allies to former President Muhammadu Buhari is Honorable Farouk Adamu Aliyu, and he's here for us from our Kano studio to give some clarity into that statement and perhaps what exactly that means and for the politics of today. Thanks so much indeed for joining us. Give us an understanding of what you make of Boss Mustafa's statement from that yesterday's book launch.
Sheun, and good evening, Nigeria. Good evening, Nigerians. My senior brother, Boss Mustafa, certainly got it wrong because probably, I can't even remember where he was that time. If people can remember very well, my own face from 2001 to date, I'm one of Buhari's faces, people that have stood by and for him all through up to the time he finished the presidency. And moving forward to 2014, former governor of Ekiti State was the was the chairman of the convention committee, and each presidential candidate at that time, aspirants, Muhammad Buhari, I was Honorable Farouk Adamu Aliyu, who was his representative on that committee, so I was his returning officer. There is Honorable Greg from Imo State, who represented Atiku Abubakar. There was Honorable Mai Angua, who represented late Samda Isaiah. I can't remember the person who represented Kwankwaso. Now, at that time, I can confess to you and to all Nigerians that, yes, it's true that we've all along come with the 12 million votes or even more for Muhammadu Buhari. But did we ever win the election? Were we declared? In certain instances, 2011, we thought we won, but something happened, we were not declared. But officially, we were not declared. Buhari was not declared as the winner. Let me tell you that time, Kano State, when Kwankwaso was the governor, his team was led by Ganduje. And in Jigawa, I remember very well, some members from Jigawa State, some from Kano, in most part of the northwestern part of this country, did not vote for Buhari at all. That was even how Kwankwaso became second. And I was one of the people whom Fashola, he's alive, you can ask him. Fashola gave me an aircraft to bring delegates from Jigawa and Kano State to help vote for Buhari. And it was Tinubu who rallied all the southwestern votes for Buhari, all of them. But I can confess to you, the northwestern part of this country, where Buhari came from, or comes from, did not vote for him all along. So Tinubu played great role in Muhammad Buhari's emergence as the candidate. Anybody who tells you that probably does not know history. And as I said, my senior brother, Boss Mustafa, certainly was not in that equation. And you see, unfortunately, there are so many of these Buhari converts whom were not with us, were not with Buhari. I don't want to mention names, but most of them who happened by accident or fate became what they became. And they're trying to deconstruct history. It is not true. Tinubu assisted, contributed, helped Muhammad Buhari to get the ticket, by extension also winning the election, because he followed us to campaign all over the country. And I don't want these kind of issues to be brought about between Buhari and Tinubu, because there are no issues. Buhari has said it. Tinubu has said it. So why whip these sentiments that are not there? So I'm confirming to you, and if anybody can challenge me that I was not the returning officer in Lagos, let him come out and speak to you to tell you that it's not the truth. And if anybody can also come and say, I have not been one of the people around Muhammad Buhari from the day he started. There is nothing in this country that we didn't go through. The traversities of intimidations and so on. And I went through referendum. I keep saying that. The only member who went through referendum, to be recalled, all because of my association with Muhammad Buhari. So where are all these people? Where were they when we were doing all these things? So Tinubu assisted and Tinubu contributed in Buhari's emergence. So let's not talk about the 12 million votes, because the 12 million votes did not actualize to presidency. So we had to do the
Honorable Aliyu, so let's look at it. 2020, 2003, 2007, and 2011, Buhari failed to achieve his ambition of wanting to become president. Now, in 2015, Tinubu had an option of siding Atiku Abubakar, whom he supported in 2007 on the ACN ticket, to support him as a party flag bearer. He could have supported Inda Isaiah. He could have supported, was it Rochas or Korocha? He would have supported any of the 5 that ran on the platform of the new merged party at the time, APC. But he chose to support Muhammadu Buhari. And a lot of people thought that without Tinubu's support, maybe Atiku would have defeated Buhari to the ticket of the APC. Is that right?
Absolutely, it is completely correct. Let me even tell you, back in 2011, why, Oshibanjo was the person given to us as vice presidential candidate, but in the wisdom of our team, refused to take him, and we took Pastor Bakari. And that's why the merger didn't work out that time. And then we realized, our principal, Muhammad Buhari, realized and kept saying all the time that, look, we found out that we cannot go it all alone. And he has been in talks with Tinubu. We've visited Tinubu's Bodilong premises several times, just like he visited Buhari in Kaduna several times. We had meetings in my office. In my office in Abuja, Arek Beshola can be a witness, Fayemi, Dere Alake, all of them. Be a witness in my office in Abuja when we're meeting to make sure we emerge. So anybody who comes to try to deconstruct the history that Tinubu did not contribute is not true. So please, let's even not take that statement as serious.
So Tinubu was right to say Emilokon in 2022 or 2023 when he said he had supported Buhari, and this is a time for him also to be on the ticket. But those who think that the implications of a Buhari support was not evident, the 12 million vote vanished in 2023, and those who question Buhari's loyalty or to repay loyalty to Tinubu in 2023, could there be and could those people be right to have said Buhari worked against Tinubu? That those who are on the inside who said Buhari actually wanted Atiku to win at the time?
That is not true. It is true, totally untrue. And look, Nigeria is a third world country. If Muhammadu Buhari did not want APC to win the election, he would have done several things to make sure that didn't work.
But where was the 12 million votes? Why did it vanish to? We didn't see the 12 million votes in 2023.
No, that's the voter apathy in Nigeria. It has nothing to do with Buhari. It has nothing, because a lot of people got disappointed in us, politicians. People came out, voted, and they didn't get what they wanted, so a lot of people didn't vote. That was just it. It is voter apathy among all Nigerians. It's got nothing to do with Muhammadu Buhari, but I assure you, Muhammadu Buhari supported 100% Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and Bola Ahmed Tinubu also said so. So, you cannot stop people from backbiting, people from trying to bring trouble where there is none. We have a government run now. We are all running behind Tinubu to make sure he succeeds. Because if he succeeds, the country succeeds. These are, distractions that we don't need at this time.
But why are your folks and your friends in the CPC block of the APC, why are they abandoning the APC and moving to the ADC? And they are clearly coming out in the public to preach against Bola Tinubu and say they are angry about the way things are in the country. And there are those who are saying that the feelers are that you're getting a lot of negative vibes from the CPC bloc of the APC and indicating that Buhari may not be happy with Tinubu. What exactly is going on?
Well, see, this is subjective what you're saying, because, when you talk of CPC bloc, I contested governorship of CPC in Jigawa State. I'm one of the movers of CPC, and I'm with Bola Tinubu. There are a lot of us that are with Bola Tinubu, and you cannot also stop people not going up with Bola Tinubu. Just like when we did the merger, there were people who left and followed Atiku. So this is just it. And look, it is not true Most members of CPC, because we believe in our principal, Muhammad Buhari. Muhammad Buhari has issued statement. Muhammad Buhari is with Tinubu. So we are with Tinubu. So anybody who says we are not with Tinubu is not true. But there are some of us, which is true, who feel aggrieved. They don't want to be part of this government, and so be it. And you cannot have 100% followership. There are people who certainly will not do whatever you want to do at the time you want it to be done. So, I mean, that's their business, and we cannot stop them. But that does not mean we will not support Tinubu. And I'm sure Buhari, why don't you try to ask him? Buhari will support Tinubu to make sure Tinubu wins election 2027.
So I mean, we'll take another break, Honorable Farouk Adamu Aliyu, and I'll get your concluding comments about what is going on in the APC, the emergence of the opposition platform, and the coalition force that we're seeing, and the implication for Bola Tinubu and the APC in 2027. We'll be right back after this break, everyone. Our closing moment with Honorable Farouk Adamu Aliyu, who is a former member of the House of Reps and a chieftain of the APC. Are you worried, Honorable, about what has become a major storm, which the ADC is bringing, courtesy of the opposition coalition platform? That those who are challenging and say, those who are working with Tinubu, the cabinet members who are there, are they working, are they not? That they're going to chase Bola Tinubu back to Lagos in 2027. What are your views about the storm that is to come?
Well, we respect them. They are respected Nigerians who are part of us. Most of them, look at them, most of them were the same gang that we all came together in 2014 to form the party and also, APC, to fight and make sure we dethroned Jonathan. So most of them, so we respect them. We respect their opinion. But they don't scare us. We're not afraid of them. And remember, one day I told you that we'll put sand inside their gari as a party. Just the way they're trying to destabilize us, we will destabilize them. We'll make sure they don't rear their heads. We'll make sure we'll do everything possible for our party, our presidential candidate, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, to emerge. And when talking about the cabinet, this is within the purview of Mr. President. Certainly, you cannot say all the members of the cabinet are not working. No matter what you say of Wike, no matter what you say of him, he could speak the way people don't want, but you cannot say Wike has not done anything in 2 years. The Minister of Internal Affairs, you cannot say he's not doing anything. Before he became Minister of Internal Affairs, how were the airports, the immigration processes at the airport? What are the issues we had? Now we know that there is a Minister of Internal Affairs. There are other ministers too that have a lot to show, but certainly there are some that probably the president needs to look at how they operate.
Honorable Farouk Adamu Aliyu, when you come back to Lagos, Abuja rather, please kindly come into the studio. There are a few more things that we need to discuss in what is happening, interesting politics in our nation. But thank you so much indeed, and I hope that the heat in the city of Kano will not burn your skin. But thank you so much indeed for your time tonight.
Thank you very much. Anytime you invite me, I'll be there. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. That's our show for tonight, everyone. Many thanks for watching. I'm Sean Akimale. God bless Nigeria.